What if God spoke and then stayed silent for 400 years? No prophets, no visions, no warnings. This is the story of Book of Malachi, the last voice before heaven went quiet. And what Malachi said still challenges believers today. Malachi lived after Israel returned from exile. The temple was rebuilt. Worship had resumed. But something was wrong. The people were religious, but their hearts were far from God. Priests offered careless sacrifices. The people doubted God's love. Justice was ignored. Faith had become routine. God opens Malachi with a shocking statement, "I have loved you." And the people reply, "How have you loved us? Not rebellion, not anger, indifference." The priests brought blind animals, broken offerings, leftovers for God. God says, "Try offering that to your governor." Worship wasn't rejected. It was disrespected. God confronts betrayal, broken marriages, broken promises. Faithfulness to God begins with faithfulness in life. Malachi makes it clear you can't honor God publicly while dishonoring Him privately. Then comes one of the most quoted verses. Will a man rob God? They withheld generosity. They gave excuses. God wasn't after money. He was after trust. Malachi warns of a coming day, a refining fire, a day of justice. For the proud it would burn. For the faithful it would heal. God sees everything. Nothing is forgotten. Malachi ends with a promise. I will send Elijah before the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And then, silence. 400 years pass, until a voice cries out in the wilderness. Preparing the way for Christ. Malachi wasn't the end of the story. He was the bridge, a warning before grace arrived. The last prophet of the Old Testament, pointing toward the Savior of the New. The story of Book of Malachi teaches us something timeless. God is not impressed by rituals. He desires relationship. Malachi shows us that worship without honor becomes meaningless. Faith without obedience becomes empty. Religion without the heart becomes noise. God sees more than our actions. He sees our intentions. And here is the warning. Indifference is more dangerous than rebellion, because rebellion still listens. But indifference doesn't care. Malachi reminds us that before God moves in power, He first calls His people back to sincerity. The question Malachi leaves us with is simple. Are we just going through the motions, or are we truly walking with God?